Hello, I hope you're doing well today. My name is Ian Green, and it is my pleasure today to be here to share some more information on Unit 12, Part 4 today, which is going to be working on some practice questions as we help decipher different types of cadences as outlined in the homework of the really great book called Instrumental Elementary Music Rudiments by Mark Sarnecki. We're going to be looking at some of the different homework questions on a couple of different pages. First, let's turn to page 90 in the book. It's a pleasure to be here, and if you have a chance as well, if you choose to stream music, you can find some original music that I release on a regular basis on Music Dreams and also on Ian J. Green, two different artist profiles that you can find wherever you stream your music. I also enjoy teaching, and I've been a music teacher for a long time, teaching piano, theory, history, harmony, and also on advanced pedagogy, so how to teach teachers how to teach. Let's go over to the specific shared screen here. We'll go over what the different cadences are we're going to be using, and also how to answer the questions. So as we know from previous tutorials on this topic, the authentic cadence contains the triads of and the chords of the dominant going to the tonic, also known as 5-1. Now in music we also see sometimes something called the 5-7 going to 1, but the dominant seventh is a type of chord that we'll discuss in a different tutorial. In a different series, actually. Now, the next cadence that we looked at in this tutorial series is called the plagal cadence, and this contains the subdominant chord going to the tonic chord, 4-1. Now, in the next tutorial as well, we looked at something called the half cadence. So let me share my screen with another part of this great book. We are going to be now looking at page 92 just for a moment. And you'll see here that we have two different types of half cadences. One type of half cadence is from 1 to 5 or from 4 to 5, also known as the tonic going to the dominant chord or the subdominant chord going to the dominant chord. And the half cadence feels unfinished because we finish on that cadence on the dominant chord, the fifth note of the scale. So it feels like the music needs to go somewhere else. It feels like the music is unfinished. So those are the two different types of, I guess, three different types of cadences that we would have been looking at. Now let's go back to the other screen, and we will work on some of the first set of questions and decide how to answer them. So what we want to do is go back to page 90. And first of all, what you want to do is always decide what scale you think the example is in. That will help to then decipher which cadence we're using, because we have to know what key we're in first, what scale we're in. So here we have accidentals, F sharp and G sharp, and it looks like we have an E chord or E going to an A. So we can't be in the scale of C major, but we can be in the related minor of A minor. Now here, we know in the scale of A minor that this note is A, which is the tonic note of A minor. Now in the chord patterns we know we have 5-1 for the perfect authentic cadence. We have 4-1 for the half cadence, and then we also have for the plagal cadence, and then the half cadence is something else. So we know the half cadence does not work here because the second chord of this progression is tonic or 1. So then we have to now go into the scale of A minor and count up to find E in that scale. So let's go over to the piano and do that. The fifth note is E, so therefore this is going to be dominant to tonic. And the type of cadence we have is called authentic. Now, in the next scale, we're going to be we're going to be in a different scale. Now we have two flats. So we can be either in B flat major or G minor. But now let's match the chords and especially the bass notes, the lowest notes of the bass clef, to see which scale we're using. We have B flat and E flat. So we know we can't be in G minor because it would have to be a different set of notes. So we know we're going to be in B flat major. So we can write that down. Now we also have a B flat here. So that means the tonic note of B flat major, B flat, is that second chord in the progression. Now, the first note is E flat. And if we think of the scale, this first chord is going to be the 4 chord, the subdominant. So then this cadence is plagal, 4 to 1. Now, in this particular book, the easiest way to find the root of a chord is to look at the lowest note in the bass clef for each chord. The rest of the notes above that individual note in the bass clef will be the rest of the chord notes in the treble clef. And sometimes the inversions will be written in first inversion or second inversion, but the root note is always going to be in the bass clef. So that's an easy way to find what starting note we have for each chord, and then also how to figure out which scale degree the chord is going to be in. It's a little tip. Let's go to the next example. We now have 3 sharps, so we want to think of either A major or its relative minor, F sharp minor. Now the notes we have are D and A, so we know it can't be F sharp minor. It has to be A major. And then we can see here the tonic is the second chord of this progression or this cadence. Now let's see where D fits. If we think of the A major scale, and we count up to D, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we know that this chord is going to be D, which is the 4th note. And the major triad above matches. Then we go to the tonic. So this is going to be a plagal cadence. Now let's go over to another series of notes and examples related to half cadences. And we can work on some of this together. Now we're going to be going over a couple of pages further in the book, over to page 93. And let's work on a couple of these examples. Now we're going to be adding in the half cadence as well as the plagal cadence and authentic cadence. But still, the process is the same. You want to think of the scale you're in first, then match it to the chords in the cadence to get the correct answer. Let's look at the first one together. So we have 2 sharps. We want to know that we can either have D major or B minor. Now the bass notes we use are F sharp and B. So we can't be in the scale of D major. We have to be in the scale of B minor. So we have here, first, B minor is the key. Now we know this first note is a B, so this is going to be the tonic. So we know we can't have a plagal cadence or an authentic cadence because the tonic is the first chord of this progression. So we know it has to be then a half cadence going from 1 to 5. B minor to F sharp major. Let's go to the next example. Now we're going to be thinking about what scales we can use with one flat, either F major or D minor. So, based on the notes we have, F and C, those are the notes we're going to be using. We can't use D minor in this case, so it has to be F major. As you can see with each of these examples as I'm going through, I'm always thinking about the key signature, then matching that to the bass notes in the bass clef of the chords to then see which possibilities we have. If we know that the notes in the bass clef that are the roots of the chords do not match with the major scale, if there's some other weird notes, then we know for sure then it's going to be the minor key and vice versa. So in this case now we're in the scale of F major, so we know that the F is going to be 1. And then C is the 5th note of the scale, so we have 1 to 5. So this is going to be also a half cadence as well. Now let's go to another example. Let's do this one here. This is going to be the 3rd line down where we have a key signature of F sharp. Now we can have either G major or E minor. Now, based on the notes we have and also the accidental of D sharp, we're probably not going to be in the key of G major, so we're going to be in the key of E minor for this example. And E is the root of this second chord. The tonic note is used. Now here we have B, which is the 5th note. So here we have 5 to 1, which is a perfect or an authentic cadence in the key of E minor. So when you're working on these progressions and these different types of patterns, the important thing to do first is to decide what scale you think it should be in based on the key signature and find what the major and minor options are. Then match that information to the bass notes to see what types of bass notes are being used in this specific example. Then that will help to narrow down if the example is either in the major key or the minor key. Then you can use the chart or the organization of the notes in the cadence to decide which cadence is specifically being used based on how the bass notes are moving. As well, the top notes in the treble clef in these examples will match the bass notes. So then by doing that, you're able to decipher the key that the example is in, the chords that are being used, and also the cadence of those chord progressions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.